Good morning, my friends. We are back here on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. Oh, yes, it's Friday. Fresh Fridays. This one coming to us from Yemi and Tough Culture. One of the picks of the week last week. We've got so much new music to run for you. Got an amazing conversation on the way as well. So, stick around. Let people know you're locked in. Like the video. Let's get into the comment section as well. Oh, yes. As I was saying, super vibrant flavours on this one coming from Yemi and Tough Culture. Don't tell me this one, the Yemi dub mix. Smooth UKG flavours to kick us off. What a wonderful thing. Going to start the show in just a couple of minutes. So let people know, get sharing, all of that good stuff. All right then, my friends, how are we doing this morning? We are live on Brekky In The Cave. Welcome to Cubcam TV for this Fresh Fridays, the end of the show, the end of the week's show, obviously, where we run through loads of new music. We look through a lot more specific guests. We tend to be a bit more specific with the way we run the Friday shows, looking at different things, looking more at sound system culture, a lot more, and obviously Juki will be joining us from around 1:15 in around 10 minutes or so. We're going to be looking at what's happening with the Prem, the return, and just music in general over the last few weeks. It's been an exciting couple of days for the channel. The Spider-Man video we put up yesterday is the best performing video we've ever put up in the first 12 hours. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's gone and watched that one. If you haven't already, please do. But yeah, we've hit 400 subs this week, so thank you to everyone who has come through and said and laid a subscription on the channel. It's really, really appreciated. And obviously we're growing, man. We're in a position where we are now growing. It's quite rapid. We've gone up, I think, 8 subscribers overnight, which is sick to see because it means that the channel is being watched near enough 24/7, which is great to see. The daily views are going up. The average listen time's going up as well. So I like to think we're doing all right. You know, we're doing all right for the first 12 weeks. I've officially I've now gone four weeks entirely without caffeine, which is a bit of a madness if you ask me. But yeah, that's why the eyes are so red, realistically. But yeah, 4 weeks without caffeine. What have I noticed more than anything else? I'm actually sleeping worse. But there we go. That's a story for another day. And yeah, obviously it's been a busy week in regards to new music. Some of the new releases we're going to be checking out today are off the chain, I've got to say. There's new Georgia Smith. There's new Tiana Taylor. There's new Koji Radical. New Kojo Funds. There's loads of new bits in there as well. New Clarity and Dakota 6 as well. We're going to be listening through all of it in Fresh Fridays, which is obviously coming up at 11. But at 10:30 today, we're going to be joined by Will Winter. I don't know if he's based in Brighton, but he's based near Brighton, I believe. But yeah, he's an independent designer, graphic designer, and he works a lot with independent clothing brands as well, getting them off the ground. And yeah, we're going to be talking to him about the process. Obviously, everyone loves independent clothing. Everyone loves independent clothing lines. And he's going to be talking us through the process of setting one up, the sort of the fallouts of running those sort of platforms, and of course the do's and don'ts, which is something I like to do a lot on this show, is get the real do's and don'ts from people who have been there and done it, of setting up an independent clothing brand. Obviously, there are a lot of people that run labels that watch the show. There's a lot of people who are just creatives in general who tend to watch this show, which means I try to put in as many sort of unique and sort of almost teaching sort of approaches to these interviews as possible, especially on the Fridays. I really like to try and get them to be as conversational and learned as possible. If people can go away from the show learning something new, then that's an amazing thing, in my opinion. So let's crack on with some bangers, shall we? Because we've got some bangers to get into. This one coming from Hypho and Logan. I got sent this one yesterday. This one is called Bad Man Tune. This one is the fresh master. It hasn't even been named properly, as you can see on my screen. I literally got this less than 12 hours ago, so we're going to jump into this one now. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Out to everyone locked in right about now. If you are locked in, let us know. Send us a signal in the chat. We want to keep it as sociable as possible. And, of course, we want to get the show shared around. So do throw a like on the video if you are locked in. That's one of the most important things with this YouTube business, I found out. If you press like on the video, it automatically means more people can see it. So if more people can see it, it means the show grows. So there we go. If you are locked in, please take the half a second it takes to click like on the video. And of course, if you are willing to, and it's your first time locking in, hit subscribe as well. There we go. See, we've got the little buttons and everything. We're getting well professional around here. Right, don't go anywhere, guys. It's Cubcam TV.
But it's roughly around 120 BPM, 125, right? Can't be 2006 Rebel Panic. That's where we gave you the dubs.
What they did was take the mixing desk and make that into an instrument.
This one y'all is a bad man tune. Only bad man will like this tune. Gun fingers in the rave. That's a signal for bad man tune. Same way the girl love this tune. Double love bad man that's chill and cool. Michael Jackson knows him is smooth. Smooth criminal when we come through. When we inside the rave, it's nice. Plenty of eyes feel the girl inside. Them a move body jiggle and why the pagans them I get shell inside. They really never know me at the boss inside. None of them why them already yet. Somebody tell them the off get time. You see the top shot is in the rain. Watch them a floss to a bad man. You see the hot girl in the venue. Watch them a dance to a bad man. If you see them sit down in the ring, tell them that I'm listen to a bad man. If the DJ not far with complete, tell them send them off and play this bad man. Bad man tune. Tell them to listen to a bad man. Group and Beanie and Cartel, so they already know that we know some bad man. To a bad man tune. Grew up and be the and Cartel, so them already know that we know some bad man tune.
I don't know which one I play, but it's roughly around 120 BPM, 125, right?
What they did was take the mixing desk and make that into an instrument.
Me not par with them pagan youths. None of them need that. really want me, they want me like to try raise me history like totem car. How all them take bad man for? They really try to take bad man for some fool. Them not like me, I'm not like them. Don't let me pop one of them pagan youths. But same way, me cool, me nice, me here for the vibes and they get them tonight. Be sorry that me had to burn out the pagans, but them things that go on in a bad man tune. Bad man tune. Big man think this one the bad man tune. Looking funny, I was had to want me tell them this one y'all the bad man tune. You see the top shot is in the rain. Watch them a floss to a bad man tune. You see the hot girl in the venue. Watch them a dance to a bad man tune. If you see them sit down in the rain, tell them para listen to a bad man.
And that is all you are getting of that one. Sneaky preview of that one from Hi-Fi featuring Logan. That one is Badman Tune. That one's forthcoming next year. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be playing it, but you know what? There's Cubcam TV. We do things a little bit unorthodox here. Again, let's have a little look through some news because there's loads of stuff popping today. Let's have a little look at this. Twitch live streams apparently are under threat. So let's have a little look-see, shall we? Yeah, little butchers. Let's have a little scroll through this one. Twitch has started cracking down on DJ live streams. Now, I've always found it weird that DJs will do live streams through Twitch. I've always seen it as definitely a gaming-first platform. I've never really understood the appeal of DJing through Twitch over something like YouTube or even a Facebook. Like, it makes more sense to me, I suppose, apart from the copyright issues. But if they're clamping down on it, I think this is just going to send people right back to Facebook and YouTube, to be honest with you. But let's have a little look through this article. It comes to us from Mixmag. Coachella's officially been cancelled. There we go. DJs attempting to stream on Twitch are noticing an increase in copyright takedowns of both live streams and archival clips in line with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DCMA. The streaming platform's community guidelines for music specify that copyrighted music is not allowed on the platform. An example listed of music content not allowed on Twitch streams is that DJ set / playing and or mixing / pre-recorded sets, music tracks which incorporate music other than music which is owned by you or music which is licensed to you to share on Twitch. That's a mouthful. That's not very clear at all. But that's the line in their guidelines apparently. Very thrown together. Those rules now seem to be getting enforced on more stringent measures than before, with a number of streamers posting on social media about takedowns. Some have expressed shock at their accounts being at risk and of being permanently banned. So there we go. Got a DMCA? A DMCA? Got a DMCA, 2 more. My Twitch account is permanently gone. Kind of crazy. 5 years work can just vanish in 2 seconds. That comes from Cloaksy. And this one comes from Soul Speaking. Twitch policy has always been about knowing the rules and not about playing copyrighted music. They're just about cracking down on it now. Wouldn't be surprised if they're threatening to be sued by labels right now, and that's why they're enforcing it. That would make sense. And yeah, there's a load of tweets on here about that. As a platform, Twitch must comply with Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Decency of communication. Yeah. Which, for the most part, protects websites and platforms from legal liability of content posted by its users, but does not allow for the intellectual property laws to be violated. This means platforms are accountable to copyright infringement if it's not dealt with, or they face losing the safe harbor protection of showing good faith in complying with the law. It's all getting very legal, isn't it? Very legal indeed. Legal, in the words of millions. But yeah, I mean, it's happening everywhere, really. I remember when Facebook first started properly flagging streams, and it got really, really bad at one point, I've got to say. And the most interesting thing we found with it, more than anything else, was with the South Point show, because we were playing literally just our own music, and our Facebook page was licensed to, it was blacklisted through our distribution company at the time. We were absolutely fine, but because whenever we played something that wasn't South Point related or was already released somewhere else, we'd get flagged for it. It was horrible. And this is why they definitely must have relaxed things for lockdown on Facebook, because I didn't see many streams getting taken down. However, now it looks like it's starting to happen again. So we'll see in the long run whether this is going to be something that carries on. It's going to be interesting to see, though. Let's jump into some more music. I'm looking at the tracks we've got to play for Fresh Fridays, and I'm looking. It's so exciting. Looking through a few of them. Let's get to this one though. Luciano and Runkus. This one going by the name of Use Jar Words. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave.
What's the verse that you speak? Every verse, every verb you release. release. This is the truth to the youth of 16. Tune to the cues and P's, watch your words. Sing.
Use your words and hammer them. Do your works and stammer them. Mighty full power come fi jammer them. Well, some think that the world is all there is. Oh, but what about the power that exists within? Mightier is he that is within you and me than all the things you can see. Listen to your messenger, it's giving you these words of prophecy. Well, use your words and hammer them. Do your works and stammer them. Use up your lyrics and grammar them. Words, sound and power come fi jammer them. Don't, hey. Use your words and hammer them. Do your works and stammer them. Use up good lyrics and grammar them.
Lord, I'm a shepherd, I don't see the weapons them on. Don't see them recognize that every letter I found been to protect my life. That's why I prefer write songs as words. Sing. All them I make a hate and been a separate lives. Rise up a letter kid and been a make it spread wide. And can I get away? None of them letter great like a word. Sing. Them don't know a fraction. Speak about action and all of them words them from them feel the reaction. Scream it out to the fire, start burn them long. Them claim them a bad man. I've got book in my page and them names feel wrong. But away from God's strong, yeah. And it's an ancient one. The messenger.
Smooth flavours on this one, coming from Luciano and Rankus. Used your words. Trying to get hold of Juki. I'm sure he'll be on the phone in a minute.
Your works and stammer them. Work sound and power come fi jammer them. Don't. Use your words and hammer them. Do your works and stammer them. Use up good lyrics and grammar them. Don't. Budada, 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 dang. Budada, dang.
Touch the words when you speak. Every verse, every verb you release. Listen to the truth to the use of 16. Truth to the cues and peace. Watch the words. Sing.
The word is much mightier than the sword, and the tongue much more than the gun. So link them with word power and sound. Well, use your words and hammer them.
All right then, my friends, we are back on Cubcam TV. It is Brekky in the Cave. How are we doing this morning? We've got a fabulous show on the way, and our resident brainbox, the man who knows the production credits behind every single song ever written, Duke Sky, is in the building. How are we doing this morning, my friend?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you, mate. Bit better this morning, being a bit under the weather the past few days, but feel like I'm over the hill now. How are you? Yeah,
nice, man. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm definitely in an up and atom sort of mood today. I don't know why it is. I've been sleeping worse, but getting more sleep the last few days, if that makes sense.
Well, you've been sleeping too long.
Not necessarily too long, but very kind of broken up sleep. But I've still spent more time asleep, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know that one.
Yeah, so it's a weird one, but I'm full of vim and full of energy today, so I'm looking forward to kind of to cracking on with a few things. Obviously, it's been a busy kind of week football wise. We've seen loads of stuff happen. How are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, it's good. It's starting to feel like normality has been somewhat restored. Obviously, Premier League on the horizon, coming back. We've got Germany in full flow. La Liga started again last night. I think Italy are back in action tonight with the Coppa Italia. That's a big game, Juve against Milan. So yeah, it's starting to feel somewhat like how it was.
Definitely, man. I think it's exciting more than anything else, purely because, as we were saying last time, it's looking like we're going to have almost like a tournament style. It's going to almost feel like a bit of a World Cup watching every game, because there's going to be football literally every day.
Oh yeah, hugely. Yeah, it's definitely going to have that World Cup vibe. I think. Well, some leagues, I know the MLS has won. I think there's a couple others as well have decided that they're just going to go the full hog, do the entire resumption as in World Cup format, do it as a tournament style, and decide the winner that way. So
yeah,
for some it will quite literally be the World Cup vibe, but for us, yeah, it will certainly feel similar with games left, right, and centre.
Definitely, man. I think I saw the Europa Leagues looking like it's going to be doing pretty much tournament style games.
Yeah, I haven't seen the schedule for that, but I know they were talking about just pretty much hashing it all out over the course of a fortnight or whatever it may be.
Yeah, which would be.
So, yeah, I think you have to though, because you have to try and synchronise the finishing of each league and each competition. Definitely. Otherwise, next season is going to be a mess as well.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You've got to think about more. I think people do have to think about this long term, as much as it being kind of a thing of, we want to get football back. We also have to work out how people are able to kind of transfer what's happening this season onto next season, how transfers themselves will be affected, whether transfers are going to be able to take place during the remainder of the season, and then how late we're going to start next season, and how long the sort of how long almost like the extension of this is going to be.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't know whether they're going to completely forego pre-season, or like the regular pre-season as we know it, where they travel abroad and stuff, but I shouldn't think they'll need anywhere near as much as they usually get, considering the length of time they've just had off. But no, as you mentioned, it's going to be interesting. I don't believe they've actually solved the contract issue yet. So for those players whose contracts are either up on June 30th or their loan deal expires on June 30th, as far as I know from reading yesterday, they still hadn't figured that out. So that's going to be interesting. They've left it a bit late.
Yeah.
But, for me, I'd love to have our loanee Saliba, who we sent back to France for the year. I'd love to have him play the remaining 9 games of the season, but I don't think it's going to be very feasible.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because that's something that has.
You lot have got it.
Sorry, Karen.
With Dean Henderson, you lot have got quite a tricky one, probably the most poignant example of that. Because obviously you guys are more or less, Sheffield and Manchester United are both competitors at this point for European places. So Dean Henderson's contract expires on June 30th. Obviously, current goalkeeper for Sheffield, one of their best players, if not best player of the season. So would he return to loan from his loan? United would have every right to call him back. So.
Yeah, I think this is the interesting thing. With Dean Henderson specifically, I don't know if Ollie's going to recall him and starting over De Gea. I can't see him starting him over De Gea.
No, in which case that would be horrible to recall him and then have him bench warm.
Definitely.
So, yeah, no, I think that one logic may prevail with that one, but I think there's definitely going to be certain other circumstances which are less easy to resolve.
Most definitely. I think just to carry on with that one, the maddest thing is as well, Romero's still there and he still plays a good sort of 20 games a season, which is an absolute madness when you kind of break it down. So the interesting thing following that is going to be whether in the long run Ollie goes with Henderson and sells De Gea, or sells Romero and has De Gea and Henderson in almost like a rotation. It's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't think De Gea and Henderson would agree to compete, because you can't keep chopping and changing goalkeeper throughout the season. So it would be whoever gets that number one spot. So I think you'd probably be better off selling either De Gea or Henderson and getting a chunk of change,
chunk of Wonga
amount at this point.
Definitely. I mean, to be honest, at this point, I wouldn't be mad to sell. At this point, I wouldn't be mad to sell De Gea and bring Henderson back as the number one keeper, and keep Romero as the reserve.
Exactly. He's definitely bring back for the badge.
Yeah,
more than De Gea would. He's very badgy.
Very badgy player. So as well as that, obviously we've got an amazing set of tunes to get into for Fresh Fridays today. I'm gonna very quickly bring them up on screen.
We do.
I mean, we were speaking last night before I went to bed about this, and it was very. We were both very excited looking at the listings.
Yeah, it was. They were just flying out. It was coming out our ears.
Yeah.
Well, going in our ears and coming out our ears. Bangers left, right and centre. So
Literally.
let's get to it.
That we're going to be jumping on the phone with Will Winter in just a second as well. But just to quickly look through these, we can see there's new Budger Banton, new Georgia Smith, new Chronics, new Koji Radical, new Coops out on High Focus, new Kojo Funds, Tiana Taylor, there's new Gorillas and Octavian, there's new Clarity and Dakota 6, and new Rekka and Big Picture. So pretty much everyone on that list, bar one or two names, is pretty well established within the sort of Fresh Fridays regularity. So to see everyone on one together is amazing.
Yeah, we've got a couple of regular frequenters there, and as you say, a few new faces on top, so it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to this one.
It's going to be really good. Right then, we're going to jump into a tune before we get onto the phone with man like Will Winter, who's going to be talking to us about sort of independent clothing, art and design and all these things here. It's going to be quite an interesting interview, something we haven't necessarily covered that much on this show, but I'm really looking forward to talking through it. We're going to get to this one next from Positive B. This one goes by the name of Me Give Thanks. And then we're going to jump on the phone. So, don't go anywhere. It's Brekky In The Cave.
Yeah, man. And I say life is off, Original point, Positive B in a day, two words, Life is a mission, man. They're on a journey, come to accomplish, Righteousness goes like this. Me give thanks every day, Boy, your true life, I keep fighting for better. So me glad, say me there. So me come for yes, so me the hope and banner. Young, I give thanks every day. Boy, your true life, I sing songs it for better. So me glad, say me there. Bring him on for yes, so me the hope and banner. All you got to do, boy, just clean out your terror. Never get mixed like caramel and flour. Rasta no push away them catch with butter. Wicked one slide in a gutter. Me sing again, yeah, them a word man a utter. Bun wicked at a word sound and purr. On the battlefield, bingy man a chester. You know them a time and all them to no slaughter. Yes, this a one confused lol intruder. Me give thanks every day, Boy, your true life, I keep fighting for better. So me glad, say me there. So me come for yes, so me the hope and banner. Young, I give thanks every day, Boy, your true life, I sing songs it for better. So me glad, say me there. Bring him on for yes, so me the hope and banner. Who gone, say them gone already? Boom. Who they a better stand up, say they. Cool. Rastaman, ideology. Remember that I love and life and liberty. Never get caught in a the wrong calamity. Long time you tell them see I kill some city. You that a rock Rastafari busy. Yes, bingy man no mix up in a iniquity. But Rastaman no mix up in a ini. Diggy. I give thanks every day. Boy, your true life I keep fighting for better. So me glad say me there. So me come for yes, so me the hope and banner. Young, I give thanks every day. Boy, your true life, I sing songs it for better. So me glad say me there. Bring him on for yes, so me the hope and banner. The longer you live, I say you learn. Yes, Rastafari come now with a hot fire burn. Ethiopia King Selassie I govern. I say me bun Babylon life, you know it modern one popping. I'm on a come second tire, off flat and down at a run. Make it, me say you're not gonna stand. Uptown and downtown, tell me how we soon again. I give thanks every day. Boy, your true life, I keep fighting for better. So me glad say me there. So me come for yes, so me the hope and banner. Young, I give thanks every day. Boy, your true life, I sing songs it for better. So me glad say me there. Bring him on for yes, so me the hope and banner. All you got to do, boy, just clean out your terror. Never get mixed like caramel and flour. Rasta no push away them catch with butter. Wicked one slide in a gutter. Me sing again, yeah, them a word man a utter. Bun wicked at a word sound and purr. On the battlefield, bingy man a chester. You know them a time and all them to no slaughter. Yes, this a one confused lol intruder. I give thanks every day, Boy, your true life, I keep fighting for better. So me glad say me there. So me come for yes, so me the hope and banner. Young, I give thanks every day.
Lovely stuff from Positive B on this one, going by the name of Me Give Thanks. We are live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave. We seem to have temporarily lost Dukey, and I'm sure he'll rejoin the chat in a minute. But Will Winter is on the line with us this morning. How are you doing, my friend? You all good?
I'm very well, thank you, man. How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. I've been looking forward to this one. Obviously, it's one we've had in the book for a while. We're going to be talking about a couple of very interesting topics and a few things that are very new to the channel in regards to sort of interviews and discussion. Like, talk us through who Will Winter is. What does Will Winter do?
Right. So, I essentially started off doing artwork when I was in Brighton, which then turned into events, and then that brought on the clothing, which I used to experiment with a couple of years before, but then brought it back properly. So yeah, master of all, jack of all trades, the word.
There we go. I mean, it's really interesting here, obviously, because we when we put the feelers out on Instagram for people we should try and get on the show in the morning, and people we should try to get to join us basically for more kind of unusual style interviews. Most people said Will Winter, so it was one that was really really enjoyable to set up, because obviously it was definitely one people wanted to see, and obviously your work is getting around a fair bit.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a bit sort of, I don't know what the word is, like, I think it's just getting my head down and just keep the consistency up, really. I think that's one of the most important things.
Definitely, man. I mean,
off for sure.
I mean, how did you first find yourself working in a sort of design type world?
So what it was when I lived in Brighton from 2015 to 2017, but it was early 2016. I was skateboarding. That was the main thing. That's where it all comes from. I was just skateboarding, but when it was wet and raining, you know how it gets in the winter there. I didn't have anything to do, so I thought I'd jump back into doing some drawing and stuff. That then turned into about 15 pieces that I made, which then made me put on a gallery, which I called Shades, and we had a few people come and perform. And then after meeting various artists and musicians, it's just started naturally growing into me putting the events on, but then also doing some of the artwork for a lot of the artists that were attending.
There we go. I mean,
yeah.
it's quite an interesting thing to hear. Then, Dukey has joined us now in the chat. I can see him in here. I think there he is. There we go.
Yeah, I was lurking. I was just listening.
So yeah, I mean, this should be a good one. Obviously, the kind of big thing of this is everyone loves sort of independent design. Everyone loves independent clothing. Everyone loves sort of unique. I'm trying to think of the name, the way to describe it, but very much personalized artwork and things like that. So obviously, you've put on this kind of gallery scenario early on. Like, what was the kind of issues you found with doing that first time? Like, what were the most difficult parts about putting on a gallery display?
A lot of it was hanging the artwork. We didn't have any frames. It was all done off prints. My friend Sheridan, who I used to do Shades with, he was great at helping set up. We had to sort of set up things with a wire and find interesting ways to attach things to the walls, because not only did we not have any money, we also had never done anything like that before. So yeah, and it was certain things like sort of running a stage, like making sure the artists are there on time and everyone's got what they need. Just things that you face when doing first
logistical aspects.
That's it. Yeah, exactly that.
Very much, man. I think the logistics of running anything live are always going to be they're always going to be a little bit tough, there's a lot of things you can never really predict or never really
there's a lot that's out of your control.
Yeah,
it's a lot of problem solving. And that doesn't, you could do, I've done, about 13 events now, and at every single one, you've got to figure out something new that happens then and there on the night. It's not, it's not plain sailing every single time.
Definitely, man. Like, I mean, with the kind of approach to art, then, when you first kind of started putting projects together and getting the sort of design element down, did you ever imagine that you would be kind of working in that gallery sort of scenario?
Well, the gallery scenario, funnily enough, that was something that we wanted to just keep on doing, and then go into sort of, I wouldn't like to say the fine art world, but looking at more expanding as an artist. But then when the music side of things got bigger at the events, that's when that started taking over, and we kind of, rather than sort of trying to inject myself into that world, it became more known for putting on events, and then the artwork started going from physical to like digital while people were playing, and it just, it was I don't know, it's still kind of a confusing one, but it worked. So the music kind of took over, and then we started going into that scene a bit more.
Okay, cool. Like with the music side of things, then I'm assuming the art aspect you kind of bring to things is still very much at the forefront of the shows.
Definitely, yeah. So it would be like the projector. We'd have like 2 projectors running sometimes. The room would have various collages of mine sort of dancing around, if you will, and edited in a way that, you know, people could be performing in the front, but then all the artwork's playing in the back. Sometimes it would be like over them, and they'd be a lot of the artists would wear my clothes up while performing as well. So it was kind of like a whole gig, but like with my image on it, if that made sense.
Yeah, that's really cool, man, and it's something that's quite unique. I feel like a lot of the time with sort of stage shows, Juki, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this one. You find you'll go to events and they all look kind of the same.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the main things. If you can differentiate your spot from everyone else's, then yeah, that's certainly going to bring people back, and it's one you'll remember as well. So. Definitely.
Like, how do you go about putting together that sort of almost branding to an extent, like that makes people that makes people remember the Shades events?
That was, to be honest with you, bro, that was just me getting my head down every day after work and just doing artwork and just keep creating, putting things into Photoshop, like just making sure I've got essentially a backlog full of designs that we could use at any one time. I can just, you know, pull them out of thin air, and that hasn't stopped really from then until now. Okay. So I'm always sitting on like loads of stuff that is unreleased or hasn't been seen for that exact reason. Really, you just keep the branding going.
Nice, man. I think it's cool to see, because obviously we see a lot of designers seem to appear quite regularly. People pop up saying, "Oh, I'm doing design work now. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." Like, how would you say your style as a designer differentiates from a lot of the competition, shall we say?
So I got my style down quite early on, and then built up the workload, and then started putting myself out there. So in that way, I had something memorable that people could see. So when they meet me on a first-time basis, they're like, "Oh, right, that's one of Will's pieces." And yeah, a lot of that was just inspired by Frank Miller, who's the artist that did Sin City, and Jamie Hewlett does the gorilla stuff. They were like my 2 earliest inspirations. But drawing things from that and then applying my own kind of technique. But again, it was just early days, just getting everything down before I put everything out. And I have something like 10 or 15 pieces before I even put out like an Instagram account or anything like that. So it was just making sure I had that there to go off when then sort of promoting it myself.
Awesome, man. I mean, it's a very kind of unique path, I feel, the design world. And I think unless you're kind of either in it or you are working with people in it, like it's quite a difficult thing and process to describe. Like, I'm assuming you primarily work from home.
Yeah. I work full time as well. So I always have since 2016 till now when I started doing it. So it's kind of it's a really good way to sort of distract myself from the day job, and then at the same time work hard enough at it for that to become my actual job within the near future.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Awesome, man. I mean, Juki, with your kind of look on more so kind of like artwork and independent stuff, what would you say the thing that you kind of notice in general about designers is the thing that stands out the most?
Just that unique touch, you know. I think it's so easy to fall into a trap of like templates and mimicking something that you've seen to too much for an extent, you know. So I think if you've got that artistic streak in you, and you can unleash it and channel it into that artwork or project, whatever it may be, then that really shines through. And I think that's to the consumer, it's really obvious.
Definitely. I think Will, with your design, with your approach to design anyway, what would you say your unique kind of aspects are? What are like the things you can expect to see in a Will Winter piece?
It's getting the shadows right, using minimal colours. So I use about 3 colours, black, white and pink. I don't know if you've noticed that in some of the pieces you might have seen, but it's getting more so making sure I pull out the shadows so it can make up an image, but we're making it really simple as well. But just so it just looks cool, really. I mean, it's simple to say, but that's what works.
I think as it is obviously a very visual thing, I think looking cool is something that is very important. Yeah. I think it's quite easy to kind of go, what do you mean by looking cool? It's a surprisingly difficult thing to do.
Yeah, but you can. It's again, you know, to make something look simple, it takes hours of practice.
Yeah,
it's like that goes back for when I used to be skateboarding. Like I would take hours and hours and hours to do a trick, but you see me do it on film, it looks so easy. People are, I could do that. It's like, well, you know, to make it look so easy, you have to put all the work in first.
Definitely.
So it's like, I think with any sort of discipline, I mean, you could take it to music as well, with like formulating a good hook or a chorus or something. For some people, they can just churn them out, but and make it look easy, but obviously it's far from it. So,
yeah,
100%.
Have you found there to be many kind of correlations when you've spoken to musicians in the process?
A little bit, actually. I spent a lot of my time in studios working on my artwork while people were working on their tracks. I really like being around musicians and like rappers and stuff, because I get really inspired just being in the studio. Like, I'm not musically talented myself at all, but just to be in that environment, it kind of, I get very inspired by people, just the creative process of seeing someone put a song together. So yeah, I would say there is a few correlations, definitely,
and I think it's kind of cool to see, because what the interesting thing about music scenes is, it's not ever just made up of musicians. You've got got obviously the producers and the rappers or whatever, the vocalists. You've also got the promoters. You've also got people like yourself who work more in the sort of visual design field. You've got obviously the independent clothing people, which we're going to get onto it in a few minutes. But I think all of these people are what actually make up the scene, rather than just the musicians.
100%, and I kind of learned that when I worked in Relentless Energy Drink. They used to have a studio in 2018, and my best friend who I used to live with, Justin Francis, he is a sound engineer. He's an engineer for quite a few people in the scene and in London. So that already, just working in those environments and then living with him, you kind of just see the whole process in a way from start to finish. And it was a really good networking opportunity as well.
Yeah, wicked, man. That's cool to hear. Right, we're going to jump into a tune quickly, and then we're going to carry on with this discussion. We're going to get into this one from Passalou. This one goes by the name of Betty. We are live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. If you are looking in via the podcast, remember to hit subscribe. And if you haven't found the podcast yet, literally just search Breakfast with Kovu. The interviews were available on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud, so don't go anywhere.
I was slinging packs, I just need $1 million cash. I just need $1 million cash. How many get stash? Beta, I spray then dash. Oh, for the money and that. What a blow cloud, fuck, many skins get bust. Oh, face off, black dumpers on. Dingas go ski and that. They like king, them frost. Pull up on your, then blast. Did the dirt, then scare off. Did the dirt, then skirt off. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. I done seen a couple things, yeah. Up in this lifestyle, serving all these fiends. We just tryna eat right, mama, she righteous. I came from greatness, I need my cake up. One of them they didn't lay shame, they didn't wake up. They'd rather drink up, I pray my niggas change. Money times I'm sly, yeah, all I know is patience. Oh, I deserve it, how many sleepless nights put in work, yeah. Tryna hit the belly like it's dominoes. Solving all these bitches like it's dominoes. I ain't with the drama, these ain't Hollyoaks. Fly out with this pat like dominoes. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They ain't did it like me. They ain't did it like me. Dirty Betty, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. Bow, they ain't better than she. They spray, everyone dash. Turbo's long. Big spray, everybody dash.
Sounds of Passalou on this one. Betty, you can check out the reaction to that one on Cubcam TV. But yeah, we are live on the line with Will Winter. We've been discussing artwork and discussing the kind of roots into that and how it came together, sort of the hard bits, the enjoyable bits. But next up, we're going to move into the next section of today's show, which is we're going to be discussing the clothing side of things. Now, you've said multiple times that you don't see yourself as a clothing designer. Oh, I believe we may have just lost Will. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to recall the chat just so everyone can see it.
We lost him.
We've lost him. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Are we reconnecting? I think we're reconnecting. We've got some Brecknicles this morning. It's the first time we've had Brecknicles all week, actually. You know what? I'm just going to recall the chat. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Out to everyone locked in right about now. We are live on Cubcam TV, and my phone is deciding to really kind of to kind of mess around with me this morning. There we go. I think we're all good. Are we all back in the building?
We're back in the building. Sorry about that.
That's a bit of a Barney.
That was an unusual one, but hey, it's fine. You know, it's a Friday morning. Brek Nichols happen. We have the goblins. They do sometimes come and they do try and sabotage these enjoyable interviews.
Did you
but
say
there we go.
Brek Nichols?
Yeah, Brek Nichols.
Right. Okay. Just clarifying that.
Yeah, I think Drinks on Me came up with the name Brek Nichols. It's the Gremlins and Brek Nichols. There we go. But yeah, we're gonna carry on this conversation. We were just saying, obviously, you don't describe yourself as a clothing brand. You essentially you do class yourself more as an art designer, and the clothing being a kind of clothing being merchandise rather than a clothing brand. Like talk me through the mindset behind that.
So I mean, I think the market is so saturated. You know, every single other person seems to be doing a brand these days, and it all, as Duke was saying before, a lot of it does sit on a different template with designs in general. So you find that applies to clothing as well when people are doing all these brands. And I thought, rather than, you know, I'd done a clothing brand years ago that didn't really work so well, and rather than having a brand which is a complete separate entity, I thought I'd rather make it a bit more personal, a bit more about myself. So that's why I use a lot of the physical artworks that I've made using collages or like old magazines or drawings I've then put on clothing, and that's why I see it more as art merchandise, because you might not be able to afford a print when they come out because they're going to be of very high quality, and usually in that sort of realm things are quite expensive, but you can afford a piece of clothing. It's more accessible, but it's always made from scratch, so the quality is 10 out of 10 every time.
Yeah, there we go.
Also, if you just want to rock it like day to day, if you want to wear it out in the world, so it's good for that.
That's it. A lot of my clothes that I make, you can wear with pretty much anything, and that was the point of it. So you can wear it with anything. It looks good with most things, but also at the same time, it's something that not a lot of people have, because it's made to quite small quantities, but not to the point where you're not going to be able to get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's bespoke to it's quite bespoke, we'll say.
Yeah, relatively. Like, I mean, there have been certain designs that have sold incredibly well, which has given me the money to make everything else. I don't know if you've seen the vegan T-shirt that I've done.
I haven't actually seen that. I haven't seen that one actually. What's it look like?
So that one did really well when I was living in Brighton. So it was a picture. It's on my Instagram. It was a picture of someone sniffing whatever, and it says a little speech bubble above them while they're sniffing the substance, saying, "It's okay, pal, I'm vegan." And that actually happened to me in a house party in 2015. So before any of this happened. And one day I was just scribbling it down, and I did it, and it took 10 minutes to draw. I photoshopped it on a T-shirt. My inbox was full. I made a few, and they sold it instantly, and then I just kept running that one. So yeah, it's certain crowds seem to really like that.
How do you find with the design work? How do you sort of know when to call time on a piece of clothing that's doing quite well?
That's a good question. I haven't yet, really. I think the things that I've done the best, I'm always remaking. So, for example, that T-shirt I used to print on just a standard blank. I'm now waiting for a factory order for a couple of hundred to arrive.
Amazing.
And rather than calling time on it, I'm just improving the best sellers, and then I'm going to continuously sell them, and then release the more bespoke sort of jackets and everything like that every couple of months, rather than all at once like I did with my last collection.
Nice, man. I mean, obviously, a lot of this is something that I've always found interesting with the clothing side of things. Everyone's done T-shirts. Everyone's done hoodies to an extent. Yep. Most people at this point have done a hat of some kind. Jackets is where it sort of gets interesting. Like, I mean, how do you go around the process of actually printing 2 jackets? Because it seems to be that as soon as you get past hoodies, it seems to get a lot more difficult to get kind of good-looking stuff out there.
That's a really good observation, actually. And I think with that was trial and error. Sampling is so important, so I managed to look for hours on an internet to find the factory that would actually do it for me the first time round, and then just going back to the drawing board. I got sort of jackets that I like, that I own, and things that I haven't seen. Try to put the two together, and rather than sort of printing, a lot of it is changing the colour of stitching, making sure the arms are the right size. The body might fit all right, but the collar's a bit too big. So you kind of always got to go back to like just the drawing board and making sure that everything is done as best you can do it the first time round. So yeah, it's quite a process.
This is the thing. Like, what would you say the main? Because obviously you've said you've had a clothing brand that didn't really kick off the way you wanted it the first time around. Like, what would you say the main things to kind of look out for are when you are kind of working in this in the sort of independent clothing market? Because obviously you as you said, you don't really class what you're doing as a clothing brand. However, it is still is still independent clothing for sale. So like, what would you say?
It still follows the blueprint.
Yeah, right. like what would you say the biggest things to look out for are for new people starting things up?
Sample. The main thing is sample everything. It's going to cost money. You are going to spend a couple. If you want to sample properly, you've got to expect to spend a good couple hundred, maybe more than that, on the whole process of everything that you want to sample. Just spend the money and do it right, because that way your product's got integrity. So when you've got the first run of things out, people can't sort of talk shit or anything like that, because well, actually, it's a 10 out of 10 product, and that is because you sampled it. It might have spent loads of money to get there, but I think don't concentrate on making the money back. Concentrate on getting the first run of the product out there, and you're always going to be operating at a loss at the start. So if you kind of go into it remembering that, you make sure your product is number one, because you can have something that's great. You can have a great print, great design. If it's on a terrible piece of quality t-shirt, people are going to know, and no one really wants to wear Gildan anymore.
Yeah,
I was going to say anti-Gildan.
What are some of the more, because obviously everyone's heard of Gildan. Everyone's heard of Gildan. There's another one as well which I can't remember the name of, Fruit of the Loom. Fruit of the Loom isn't even in the discussion anymore, is it? I feel as a brand, Fruit of the Loom has been completely trashed.
Definitely, 100%.
But there's a couple of other ones that I've seen which I've used for personal tees before. Like, would you always recommend going to someone like yourself over just printing one-off tees for people then?
I would say so, yeah. As a bit of self-promotion in a way, because
that's why you're on the show, my friend. That's why we're talking today.
I've done things wrong. You know, I've ordered 20 t-shirts without sampling them. I've messed up on an order with customs and things like that. I've done a lot of things wrong to know what not to do. So I'm always happy to give that advice to the next person. Obviously, I can't tell everyone everything, because you've got to keep a bit of information to yourself. But I can help say what not to do. So yeah, a few people have done. And I'm in discussions with a few people at the moment, because I will eventually be making blank t-shirts. So it'll be my cut. I'll be doing blank t-shirts and blank sort of sweatshirts and hoodies. So rather than having to go to Gildan or search for someone who is just making these blanks, I'll be able to do it properly and have a nice fitting piece of clothing that you can just buy from me and then print your logo on.
Wow, I mean, so it looks like you're going into more sort of more the supply chain sort of thing, rather than production.
Yeah, I want to be the middleman. Essentially, the goal is to be the middleman between quite big artists and the factories. So rather than them having to sort out for a whole sort of process of contacting factories, getting things sorted out, just give me a shout, I'll get it all sorted. And yeah,
nice, man. I mean, that right there, that's a really unique pocket to be in. That's like, because no one in music, unless they've done it multiple times, really understands the clothing market. It's a long process as well. So take that weight off someone else's shoulders, and then if you know how to do it, why not provide
exactly to go to someone with proven experience as well. I think you feel a lot more confident about the whole thing. So because that's I think when it comes down to merch lines and stuff, I think it's the daunting aspect of getting something and choosing the right design and spending however much time on that, and then it comes, and as you say, the fabric's bad, or like the logo's a bit wonky or something like that. So when you say this sampling process, just to a layman, could you just actually detail like what that is?
So it would be buying a t-shirt, or I mean, let's say we're making a hoodie. You'll ask to get X amount of fabric first, and they'll send you a little sample of each of the fabrics, and you pick which one you like. And then you're just making sure that when you're creating a piece, that you have various different versions of it that you can reference. Because the first one might come and it might not be great, and then you change it, but the second one isn't as good as some bits on the first, and you just get into
it's just all trial and error. Yeah,
that's exactly it. It's an expensive game of trial and error, but it's worth it.
As you say, yeah, it's a necessary step. Like, you need to put in the bread if you want to reap any rewards from it long term. So
that's entirely it. Definitely. I did that. I'm going to be honest. I printed on Gildan for those first few vegan t-shirts, but doing so many of them gave me the money to then do things properly. So it's about finding, maybe if you don't have a primary source of income, creating one and then making things better once you get to that level.
I mean, even if you do have the source of income, I've seen Yeezy and brands like that put up like previews of their clothes, and they've been in Gildan tees.
Yeah, same with Vlone. Vlone t-shirts are Gildan. They're all Gildan.
I mean, it is quite mad. Like, do you like with the bigger companies that are using essentially these, I don't want to sound like slanderous, but realistically these lower quality sort of mass produced t-shirt, like base t-shirts, do you think it's an issue?
I personally do, as someone who makes clothes and someone who is now doing everything completely cut and sew. I think if I'm small, very, very small person with 2,000 something followers. If I'm going to do that properly, then why can't a brand with millions of people looking at them do everything properly? Because these brands will do they'll do cut and sew jacket, cut and sew tracksuit, but then when it comes to the most basic piece of clothing, the t-shirt, they're like, oh, we'll just put it on something.
Just whack it out there.
It just doesn't make sense to me, but I understand why they do it for their profit margins, because they are, you could, a V-line t-shirt probably, if they're doing the quantities that they are, they're probably going to cost absolute maximum of £5 to make, with all labels and everything, prints on the back and front, and they're selling those for 250. Like, I do see why, from a business point of view, that you would do that, but in terms of integrity, I wouldn't do it. I think it is a problem.
There we go. I mean, it's always interesting to hear from like people like yourself who are very much in the middle of this industry, like these things like this. Like from an outside perspective, it's almost like a battle behind closed doors that we never see.
Oh, 100%. And it's not a battle that can really be won, because you're always fighting with new trends and changing opinions and things like that. But again, I think it's like with anything regarding doing anything independently or a business, as fun as it can be, it's essentially a big game of problem solving.
Okay,
really
cool.
And truly.
Okay, cool.
It's good fun.
I mean, I can imagine it being quite good fun in the way it's kind of put together, because you're always it's a creative industry at the end of the day. So there is definitely an element of having to stay creative. There's definitely an element of having to stay kind of on top of things and making sure you are kind of ahead of the trends a lot of the time. Something I did want to ask. I've got 2 questions to finish up, and I know Juki will have 1 or 2 to finish up with as well.
I got one.
So the first question is, in regards to if people wanted to hit you up on a random one, do you do one-off pieces for people if the conditions are right?
I've been asked that a lot, and I'm going to be entirely honest with you. No, I haven't. I'll do, if the artwork if it's something to do with just artwork, then maybe, depending on what the T's and C's are. But if it's clothing, I don't do one-off pieces, purely because it's not always worth the amount of work that goes into a one-off piece if you're not being able to sort of benefit from it from a financial point of view, if you're just giving it to someone. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah. So if the money's right, basically.
Yeah, but more so, like, more time, it's just no. I get asked for one-of-one pieces all the time, and it's just, when you then say, okay, well, it's going to cost X amount for my time, X amount for that, and this and that, people usually don't want to pay the price.
Yeah, of course.
So, well, I did tell you it was going to be.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think it takes a lot of people a lot of time to kind of get that into their heads, that this isn't like a quick industry. There is a lot. It's not just going on a website, clicking a template and dragging and dropping, and that there isn't that. As you said, there's so many little elements that go into it that the time that and I think as well, to an extent, people aren't necessarily paying just for the time. They're paying for the mistakes you've made in the past, which have now put you in the position you're in.
I couldn't have put it better myself. That's exactly it. Yeah,
there we go. Juki, do you want to do yours, and then I'll do mine at the end?
Yeah, no, it's just on the topic of new trends that we touched on a minute ago. I think it's safe to say one of the most dominant new trends in the past few years has been collaborations in the fashion industry, and with the art world as well. So I just wondered your take on that, and if it's something you'd have a personal eye on in future.
100%. So I've had a couple of collaborations in the past that made it to the sampling stage but never got released, and that was on the end of it was on what was the word? Like, it would be the brand that in the end they would decided they didn't want to run it because they either didn't have enough money or they had issues with the factory, which was a shame. But these things do happen, but it is always something I'm interested in. I mean, from a design point of view, my good friend Masterpiece, he just put me in touch with Converse, and we did something for their stay-at-home campaign that they're doing throughout lockdown. So that was the start of this month. Yeah, so I worked with Masterpiece on a design, and Converse used it for their logo and stuff like that. So in terms of a visual collaboration, I'm a little bit more inclined for those kind of things. In terms of clothing, you've got to be very, very decisive with it. And I think the right one will come up eventually. I think it's just, about being patient and just making sure everything on my end is fine-tuned and streamlined, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go. So I've got one more question, and I think this is a good way to kind of round things off. In regards to the pieces you've currently got out there, what would you describe as your favourite creation so far?
That's a really good question.
Well, we're on form today, Dukey, I've got to say.
I've got to say, I don't know if you've seen it, it's the Cupid hoodie. Have you seen that? It's on my website, and it's also on my Instagram. It's basically, it's a cut and sew hoodie. Oh yeah, check the website out because I've got it all redone. Everything is now 3D and it's looking brilliant. But the Cupid hoodie, because it's this cut and sew hoodie that I done, and I was sick of stuff falling out of normal hoodie pockets. So I put a square pocket with a zip on it. I put a rubber patch on the sleeve, like various metal detailing, and I put a print on both sides rather than on the front or the back. So it isn't something like I'd ever seen before, but that's my day-to-day piece. I wear that every day.
There we go.
Oh, and I did it in black and white, so that's got to be my favourite piece. And also, I quite like the dog's jacket that I've done, but for me, yeah, it's the hoodie.
There we go. Right, we've got about a minute left, so we're gonna start to round things up here. Will, it's been a genuine pleasure to have you on the line this morning. Thank you for coming on and being very informative about an industry that realistically we know next to nothing about.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate the time.
No worries at all, man.
It's been great.
What's
the website name for the people?
So it's nice and easy to remember because I finally got the permission to use the domain name. It's willwinter.co.uk.
Oh,
very
fabulous.
easy.
Perfect.
Straight on there, you'll see all the clothing. Everything's more streamlined now and everything's just working 100%. So yeah, that's
awesome,
the place to go.
Really, really cool stuff. So in regards to your socials as well, I know you're primarily an Instagram guy, so do you want to send that one in as well?
Yep, so that is Will, 2 underscores, and then Winter. And then I've got a Facebook as well. If you type in Will Winter, it comes up with a page for all the clothing too. But the Facebook is essentially just reposting the stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, the Facebook at this point for a lot of people is there to make sure you've got one, but it's not the primary thing.
That's exactly it. So yeah, Will, 2 underscores, Winter, and everything will come up.
Amazing stuff, man. Right, Will, it's been a pleasure to chat, and we shall definitely stay in contact, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you both for having me. You boys have a blessed day.
You too, man.
No worries, man. It's a pleasure. Take care, man.
Bless. So, right about now, we're going to be moving into the next section of the show, and it is Fresh Fridays, Dukey. So, are you excited for today's listing?
Yes. Always excited. But this week, I think, as we said, it's a special one.
Definitely a special one.
Got a lot of bangers galore.
We've got a lot of bangers galore, and we also have the buttons ready, which is very exciting. We have got 4 buttons, which we can hear now as I've got them set up properly. I don't have them set up properly. Do I? Oh, I thought I did. Do you know how long it took me to do to sort that out? Let's have another look.
Smells like a Zen, but it's just free fire.
There we go. That's the first one. We've got the 4.
Like Razor's just feeling a bit shy.
Yeah, we've got the 4.
You don't want to say the 4.
There we go. We've also got the 4-5.
Yo, big 4-5.
And we also have the 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There we go. And they're going to be the ratings for the show. I've got them on a touchpad now, so I can actually do them without having to roll over and click them. That was part of my entertainment yesterday. But for the rest of the day, we are going to be reviewing these fantastic releases. As we said before, there's new music from Buju Banton, Georgia Smith, Chronix, Koji Radical, Coops, Kojo Funds, Tiana Taylor, Gorillaz, Octavian features on that one, Clarity, Dakota 6, Rekka, and Big Picture. We're going to start off with Buju Banton. We're going to kick everything off really, really nicely. This one is an absolute banger, a perfect way to kick off the show. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
We are gonna make it. Win the prize and take it. We are gonna make it. 4 corner, global. Them a fight and a spy through them in control. Them a real lad. But a long time, we a fight for your slice of the bread. Them a scream and a dream and a wish me fi dead. But I got down we head. I know just now, we a scream and a cheer for the team. Them a plan out fi bench we and them roll supreme. Like a them want fi clean. Well imagine, we a try move out of the shock. Them a cry and a spy and a try stop we clock. Guess how have we back? Tell them so we bless. Tell them 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 so we still have life. We no stress. God light shine and we ya no walk west. Screw where your man want pray. We no press. Bless up pull down when we the rest. Tell them we no block like dog and we no this. Only follow we like peace so them a guess. How come we still look clean and them a mess? Eventually they will see who is watching over me. Make we shine like stars above and give love to who show us love to. We flying high like the morning dove. God a rich look your fit like glove. See life there. We a strive and a reach through the goal. Them a fight and a spy through them in control.
Sounds of Buju Banton on this one. Blessed. We're going to keep it quite speedy today because I know we've both got quite a busy day. I don't want to be sitting around listening to hours of tunes that we already understand. This one, Buju Banton. Blessed. How are we feeling about this one? Dukey.
Well, I think also we need to keep it short and sweet to give the people some imagination, you know.
Definitely.
You need to go and check the tracks out for yourself. Yeah, as always, you're on good form with the opener, starting off with a bit of Buju.
Can you tell I'm a warm-up DJ primarily?
No, don't say that. No, absolutely love it. I think he's on a bit of a roll, isn't he? It's a slow roll, but it's a roll nonetheless.
It's definitely a roll. I think ever since he has, realistically left prison. I say left, I mean been released from prison.
Been freed up.
Yeah, I think realistically we're seeing him definitely come into his own a lot more with a more modernised kind of take on dancehall, you know? Like, he's someone who has been in and around the dancehall scene for so long now. I think to see how he's now adapting to things in a more modern sense is really sick to see.
But I also think that sort of the sound has kind of caught up to him in a way as well. Like, I think he was reintroduced to it at the perfect time in a sense, because I think he's really in a position to take a lot of the new age fans as well.
Definitely. I think it's overall I think it's a very good start. So do you want to take this one, because I'm likely to be quite biased?
Yeah, I'm going to kick this one off with a 4.
With a.
You don't want to see the 4.
With a.
There we go. You don't want to see the 4. Out to man like Killer P on that one for supplying us with a fabulous
on that song.
with a fabulous 4 sound effects. So we're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave. Next up on our listing, we do have this one coming from Georgia Smith. Brand new music from her. Very exciting times. This one goes by the name of Rose Rouge, I believe.
Yeah, it's good you're judging this one as well, because I'd be biased.
Right, let's get into it. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky in the Cave.
I want you to get together. Put your hands together one time.
That's all you're getting of that one before we sit here and listen to this all day, because this is a beautiful piece of music. Do you know what the maddest thing about this is? A pop artist, I would say Georgia Smith is, releasing a extended jazz cut which is 6 minutes long.
I think she's definitely elevated into that pop bracket now, but I think songs like this show that she's still very much in touch with the underground sound.
Definitely, man. I think she's very. I don't want to say necessarily unique, but she definitely has her own pocket within the UK. I don't want to say future jazz or anything like that, but I would call this just a very nice piece of modern jazz music more than anything else.
That's it. Yeah, you can tell she's a musician as well as a singer, and I think that comes out in this particular song.
I want to get my fedora on. I want to have cigar smoke floating around. I want the whiskey. I want the dimmed blue lights with all the furniture being the same shade of kind of woody brown. That's kind of the scenario I want. And
definitely whiskey with one big rock of ice. Yeah. Just like swirling it around.
No whiskey left, just the ice. All you can hear is as it goes around. But yeah, this one, you know what? I'm going to hit this with a big 4-5.
Big 4-5.
I think that's a fair one on this. You know what? The only reason I can't give it the 5 as a piece of music is purely because I didn't hear enough Georgia, to be honest, from on the intro. It seemed to be primarily the instrumentation taking the track all the way through, which fair enough, she's heading up, but for me, like, if it's your tune, I want to hear you on the majority of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that point, but no, I think I was just taking in the music.
You want to slap a big 5 on it, don't you?
Yeah, I would have done. Yeah. It would have been 5 on it for me, for sure.
Oh, we should have done that for the 5, shouldn't we?
Yeah, no, it's all right. This will evolve. It will evolve.
It will evolve. Eventually, we'll get random 4.3s and stuff like that. We'll just end up with loads of random numbers. But yeah, I'll go 4-5 on that one. It's edging towards a 5, but for me, I've got to go 4-5.
Yeah, no, fair enough, mate.
There we go.
Can't argue with that.
So next up on our listing, we have Chronix featuring Quebecer Pyramid. This one goes by the name of Same Prayer. So we're going to get into this one now.
Let's do it.
Jah carry me through everything. I have no fear for anything. Jah gave me all the strength I need to make it through this world I was born in. Rastafari is my peace of mind. Jah, thank you for your love and kindness, for every drop of air I breathe, and for waking me up this morning. And when I'm trotting in the streets today, Judge, I never leave my side, and every day the same prayer I say, and I'm saying it to one more time. Yeah, trotting in the streets I pray, Judge, I beg you please, never left I and I, oh, never leave I and I. Rastafari, be my eyes, I can see all the possible things people could be. Jaja be my guide, cause I can only protect my flesh, but people wear disguises, help me realize, teach me love unconditionally. Can't go around preying everybody, the closest of friends will deceive you badly. I learned that Rastafari is my family, so when I'm trotting in the streets today, please, Jaja never leave my side, and every day the same prayer I say.
Sounds of Chronix on this one. A really cool tune going by the name of Same Prayer featuring Quebecer Pyramid. Interesting tune.
Yeah, I'm always here for some new Chronix. I was just thinking he's got to be up there, but back in our Trickstar studios, I think he's up there in one of the most appearances.
Yeah, I'd say so. Who do you reckon's got the most appearances in the?
I was just racking my brain while we were playing that one, trying to think.
It might be Anthony B. You know, I've got a funny feeling it's Anthony B.
Yeah, could be. I think Koji Radical could be up there.
Yeah,
as well.
Koji's definitely up there. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't really know who's been in there. I mean, most people have been in there. Most people are in there have been in there more than once at this point. You know what I mean? We've kind of got like a definite pool we like to kind of pick from. No denying that whatsoever. But I think, I mean, if we think Anthony B has definitely been in there a lot. As you said, Chronix has been in there a fair bit as well. Koji's been in there. Sabrina's quite a high flyer in the playlist as well.
Yeah, Sabrina, of course. Sabrina Gunston.
Harry J is another one.
Sampa the Great.
I think it might be Sampa the Great. You know, she's been in there like 6 times.
Yeah.
So,
she's had a few tracks of the week. As well.
Jelani Blackman as well. I think he's on 5.
Yes, true.
So yeah, interesting. We definitely need to have a little look through that one day and find out the all-time top scorers.
We will as soon as normal service resumes. But for now, this is doing nicely, and Chronic is keeping some familiarity afloat.
I think this one's my rating, isn't it? No, this one's your rating.
Yeah. No, this one's mine. What can I say? Chronic's one of my favourite albums in the past 5 or so years. And I think it's just something about his cadence on songs like this. It's a lot slower and obviously more chilled, but his cadence is really evident.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely.
I love it. So for that reason, I'm out. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna go 4-5.
You're gonna go 4-5.
Yo,
Yeah,
4-5.
I have to, man.
Big 4-5 in the building. So we've got 2 4-5s and 1 4 so far. So this is a good start to the week. Sorry, you were saying?
We predicted this. We predicted a good week. Because when we saw the listing, I think we were,
It's got to be
both in agreement.
I think the interesting thing as well is, will it beat last week? Which is, I think we had 1 4 last week, and the rest were all 4-5s, apart from 2 5s.
We might have to tally them up, actually.
Yeah, and see what week's the best. Because I think last week was an unexpected good week.
Yeah. It's going to be better like adjacent competitions.
Right, let's get to this one next then. Coming from Koji Radical, featuring Mareba. This one going by the name of Same Boat. We love a bit of Koji, as we were saying before, regular on the Trickstar playlist. A lot of the people in today's listings are quite regular. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I think that's why we were so much looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's go.
Please don't feel less of me, mama. I'm chasing destiny, mama. Don't know who blessing me, mama. Just gotta be grateful. Can't bring no stress to you, mama. Just want the best for you, mama. Try keep my head above water. Just gotta be careful. I tell karma, take a seat. I'm on my way. Just tryna make money like a nigga made mistake. I used to pray for what I wanted every day. Now me and God conversation ain't the same. Still I gotta be grateful, just gotta be grateful. I take all that pressure and put diamonds in my head, though.
I know that they what you mean, still gotta be careful.
They say love and they say hate go in the same boat. All these chains around my neck just keep my chest heavy. Can't miss my chance to shoot my shot cause we don't get ready. My little man around my way say he won't do what I do. Do what I said, don't do what I did cause I just did what I could. How many times I compromise all on my proper respect? I just spent like 30,000 trying to cure my depression. I admit that I got lost, I think I needed directions. Funny how dying always teaches the most valuable lesson. What a world we living in, this life ain't promised, my nigga. Here today, but get caught like in you ain't R.I.P. nigga. Need no vest on me, mama. Angels invest in me, mama. All them nights that you were praying, keep your faith in me, mama.
All that work inside the kitchen, that's your recipe, mama.
I just pray that they don't put me on the menu like mama. What do I do when the devil keep on testing my honor? Finish reading the Bible and go to sleep with my chopper. Don't feel less of me, mama. I'm chasing destiny, mama. Don't know who blessing me, mama. Just gotta be grateful. Can't bring no stress to you, mama. Just want the best for you, mama. Try keep my head above water. Just gotta be careful. I tell karma, take a seat. I'm on my way. Just tryna make money like a nigga made mistake. I used to pray for what I wanted every day.
All right, then. Sounds like Koji Radical. He's too good, isn't he? Let's be real here. He's just too good.
Yeah. No, I think it's hard for him to put a foot wrong at this point.
There's I don't know what it is as well. It's something about his cadence, something about his tonality, something about the way he uses his voice and it stretches and expands constantly, like growing and shrinking. No two words are the same. You know, everything's unique about how he vocalizes things. And yeah, I think he's a pretty phenomenal UK artist in today's scenario.
Yeah, very versatile as well. I think that's an understated aspect of his artistry.
Definitely. I think his I think the fact he raps and sings at the same time, which is obviously something a lot of people are doing now, but he does it in such a kind of way, like you feel everything he's saying, you know?
Yeah. And he can go with a more melodic one, or he'd do like a choppier flow and focus more on what he's actually spitting. So no, it's good.
Really good.
I like
really
this
good
from him as well.
You know what? For this one,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're going for it. We're getting the first 5 out. I couldn't resist on this one. It's just too... You know what it is? I don't think I've ever given Koji a 5, and I can't not on this one.
No. Have you not?
I don't think I've ever given Koji a 5, no.
Oh, well, first time, first thing.
Yeah, I just think the instrumental structure on this one, the sort of chiming bells and the way it all kind of comes together, the backup vocals, the progression of the tune, I just think everything about it works. So I think I had to give this one a straight 5.
Yeah. Can't disagree there, mate.
There we go. Next up, jumping into some more UK hip-hop fire. This one's sort of classic sounding from Coops. This one goes by the name of Bring the Fire. There we go, ironically. So we're going to get into this one now. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave.
See, I represent the present. Not really thinking past or future tense. Only existence.
Albanian was fed spying through the keyhole, just trying to catch a brother with the reload. Kids dying over bruised egos and other tree blows. Could never have imagined that we devolve, regrow, thought manifestation through smoke. Things coming to fruition through the words that we've spoken to existence. So bad vibes keep them at a distance, prolific and persistent. No time has been misspent, can't afford to miss rent. Miles to feed, futures to guide. I walk with forces that cause moons to collide. So look alive, come on and spinning webs with crooked lines. I can tell you're one of them from looking in your shookish eyes. There's a code and for every man the same book applies. Takes a real one to recognize. Only the foolish will jeopardize at the gates of hell while the devil tells you step inside. So I bring the fire like Prometheus to ignite the flame that's in each of us. Moving like Nietzsche does, philosophize and I teach you cuz, but I ain't even trying to be a preacher. There's a message in the ether, conscious getting louder on. Prefer that I wake up, never been a sleeper. It's a rabbit hole, it gets so much deeper. I might just crack the crust of the earth with what's coming out the speaker. So speak up, you got a voice, no one to blame but yourself. We've all got a choice, why you moving.
Sounds of Coops on this one, high focus business. We're live on Cubcam TV, it's Brekky In The Cave. I need to drink some water. So, Dukey, do you want to take it away on this one?
Yeah, I think, well, speaking of people being on a roll, I think the high focus lot have been coming through with some very solid efforts as of late, and this is the latest in line. Coops, another one familiar with our Trickstar, from our Trickstar days. And yeah, no, really like this one. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
Your voice is recovered.
Yeah, just about. I don't know what it is. Fridays. I think it's just because I've been talking all week. I'm always a bit gone by the Friday. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy this one. I think it's very classic high focus. This one, I feel they have definitely been straying a lot more into the unusual and into the unknown. But this one for me is definitely them kind of going, we still do this, guys. Like, don't forget, we still do this. We're just trying other things as well.
Well, that's it, yeah. You can't neglect your core base at the end of the day.
Definitely, and it's the interesting thing about it is it's one of the new artists that's very much doing the classic sort of sound, and a lot of the other new artists are very much taking the sound elsewhere. So to see the two kind of like level up next to each other is really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's an important stage in evolving, because obviously they've seen a lot of success over the past 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, in order to maintain relevance and progress even, I think you need to keep your finger on the pulse with artists such as that. And they have been.
Right then, let's crack on with the rating then. What we're going to go on this one?
Is this for me?
This is you, yes.
I don't know what's what. I'm going to go with a 3.5.
We're going to go for the 3.5. Okay.
Smells like a Z, but it's just 3.5.
There you go. I'm not mad at that. I think, I mean, it's only a 2-minute 24 tune. For me, it doesn't really expand that much, which is, I feel, almost like an unfortunate trait of the kind of, that sort of more classic UK hip-hop sound.
Yeah, well, I think you have to have something extra special in both production, flow. You have to bottle lightning basically to stand out properly in that realm these days.
Definitely, but I don't think 3.5 is a bad score. Obviously, it's still in this listing. No, you know what I mean? Like it's still made it very much into a very solid listening. I think what we kind of subconsciously do every time is we compare tracks to the tracks we've already played so far.
Yeah. Well, I think both that and comparing it to what we know of the artists.
Yeah,
you have to judge them by their own standards.
Yeah, of course. So there we go, 3-5 on that one. Moving on to the next one, coming from Kojo Funds. This one going by the name of Vanessa. Really interesting tune. We're going to get into this one now. Very. I'd say this is interesting, but it's also quite. It's very accessible. I'd say this one.
Accessible to people called Vanessa.
Very Vanessa. There we go. We're gonna get into this one now. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're live on Cubcam TV. Brekky in the Cave with myself and Duke Sky.
Hey.
Oh Vanessa, got me like you, me I feel undress ya. When I saw you, I was impressed. Girl, you're pretty, you can win any contest. Me see oh Vanessa, got me like you, me I feel undress ya. When I saw you, I was impressed. Girl, you're pretty, you can win any contest. Oh Vanessa, got me like you, me I feel undress ya. From the time that you saw me interest. So pretty can win any contest. Me I like the way you look at me. She called me in the morning, want to send me D. I know she want it and she have the energy. I'ma bring the liquor, bring the Hennessy. Me, I'ma pull up on the girl, them, yes, you know. There's none like me, you know. Father, me say, you know. Only one, you know. Me, I'ma pull up on the girl, them, yes, you know. There's none like me, you know. Father, me say, you know. Me, I'm the only one, you know. Oh Vanessa, got me like you, me I feel undress ya. When I saw you, I was impressed. Girl, you're pretty, you can win any contest. Me see oh Vanessa, got me like you, me I feel undress ya. When I saw you, I was impressed. Girl, you're pretty, you can win any contest. Pretty girl, would you like the D? If you want it, you could holler me. Man, her body so fine, but she like to tease. Put it in her mouth, she need a cavity. When I hit it from the back, I need gravity. Baby, when you go low, don't hurt your knees. You know I like it when you suck it without no teeth. Me not gonna lie, you be my fantasy. Me like the girl them.
Right then, we're back inside the building. Vanessa! We're inside the building for for a review of this one. I can't see the word Vanessa and not hear that.
It's like it's just subconscious.
Is it what? I don't even know what the original thing's from. I just remember seeing it in a Lady Leisha tune.
Yeah, no, I can't think. I know I've heard it, but I can't think from where.
But yeah, let's crack on with reviewing this one then. I believe this one's mine. I'm going to be straight up from the beginning. I'm going to go 3-5 on this one, straight from the off.
Sounds like a Z, but it's just 3-5.
Interesting tune, but I don't think for me anything about this one stands out more than anything else he's done. And I think Kojo as an artist, this almost feels a little bit like a throwaway to me.
Yeah, I can see that. It's might be a bit of, an album cut or a Lucy that he's chucking out there, but no, I think for his fans, they're going to be more than satisfied with it.
Yeah,
I assume so.
I mean, let's get this right again. There's nothing wrong with it in any way. It just doesn't level him up. You know, it's not a piece of music that I think when we look at the entirety of Kojo's discography is going to be in the top 10.
It's quite a safe song.
Yeah, I think that safe is a very good way of describing it. I think actually in its sort of layout, there's not too much going on. Again, there's nothing we haven't heard before, but there's everything about it's the same elements we hear on Kojo songs that everyone loves. So
100%, yeah, you're just gonna hear it in multiple DJ mixes, dipping it in and out.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think a good way to describe it is it's a playlist for a week tune. I think that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-5 on that one. Next up, we're going into some of one of my favourite artists in the world right now, Tiana Taylor, featuring Iman Nunez. Now, I'm quite happy you've got the rating on this one because I would be incredibly biased towards this one because I think Tiana Taylor is without a doubt one of the strongest artists working in the world right now in R&B and hip hop and that whole kind of group together area. I think she's putting some amazing stuff together.
A very, very talented lady for sure.
Right, let's get into this one then. We're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. Oh yes.
Hey.
One thing's for certain, need you right here in my arms, baby, I'm yearning, but I think I gotta go with you.
Lately I've been wondering what's with you. I need you to hear me, baby. Wake up, love. These sheets won't comfort me. Please wake up, love. I might just come off me, but I just need you holding me. Show me some attention. I want you to wake up, love. Hear me, baby. It's like a turban. I can wrap my head around this shit, but I need your brown skin. I'm like India when I'm not pissed with you. Know how to keep it saying it's you. I want you to wake up, love. These sheets won't comfort me. Please wake up, love. I might just come off me, but I just need you holding me. Needing your affection. Wake up, love. Hear me, baby.
Bright lights are only used for the dark, lil' mama. Drama gon' play a part, pain is art, lil' mama. It just get retouched, hung up on the walls. You wanna sell it later, then cool, we taking it all, lil' mama, it's real. I'd save you from a burning building. I wear the burns as gold medals, turn you on to remember. Even though you scarred me, I took it, so I know the feeling. But fuck it, let's build this bitch to the ceiling. I'm really fucking with you. It's a whole lot more than a makeup.
Sounds of Tiana Taylor and Iman Nunez on this one. Wake Up Love, really cool tune. As you can probably tell by the way I'm reacting on camera, I'm a massive fan of this one. Dukey, therefore, I'm going to pass it over to you to keep this unbiased. How are we feeling about this one?
Yeah, I mean, relatively unbiased because I'm a huge Tiana fan as well. But, yeah,
oh, we can't win.
I don't think quite to the scale of you. So yeah, it's probably better with me for more objective opinion. Having said that, yeah, what can you dislike about this track? I'm just waiting. I haven't seen the video. Has there been a video attached to it?
Not yet, but the odds are I will be reacting to it if I see it, just because I'll get so excited about. Like, I just there's something about how Tiana Taylor puts her projects together. You know, there's a real kind of cinematic element to everything she does. Even though even with the music she makes, it's R&B, but it's quite cinematic R&B. You know.
That's it. Yeah, well, we were just mentioning off mic about how she marries the dancing with the music so well. And how that sort of put her in this unique lane that she's currently thriving in. So, for that reason, I'm going to go 4 or 5 on this one.
Yo, big 4 or 5.
Big smashing, big 4-5. There we go. Wicked tune. Oh, just said it twice. Really cool tune. Tiana Taylor. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye out for the music video on that one, featuring Iman Nunez as well. We didn't really speak about his verse. It's quite an interesting kind of contrast, I feel, to Tiana's very kind of soft, smooth vocal approach. We then get a much more kind of choppy, quite kind of classic, kind of West Coast sounding vocal.
Yeah, definite classic vibes with the flow on there and yeah, even his vocal range. So no, can't complain with that. It matched the energy of the song well.
There we go. We're speeding through these today. It's only just gone 32 past, and I
was thinking that.
Yeah, we've only got 3 left to go, and we've done 7 already. Madness. But there we go. This one, another really interesting collaboration, but one you wouldn't have thought of, but when you see it, it makes complete sense. Gorillaz and Octavian.
Yep, I'm here for it.
There we go. We're going to get to this one now. Friday the 13th, we're live on Cubcam TV. It's Brekky In The Cave. Fresh Fridays, myself and Duke Sky in the hot seat.
Yeah.
I've been drinking and smoking too much. That shit damages. Give me a lot, I can do it myself. I can manage it. 2 signs I gotta leave, and you know how it is. You and me, we can take on the world. We can be savages. I called my dealer, said share the wire with all of us. I told him we've been so nice, don't turn them up. Is it funny how the time flies by so fast? If we do all of these lines, we go up. But if I look into your eyes, I make you realize. Before I commence and just rhyme to this.
definitely going down. Find a pagan on the strip, spinning round. Big man talking shit till we pin him down. Big man talking shit till we lick him down. Door enough, I must spin you round. Put the big in your belly, then spin it round. You can ask Crimbo if I've been about. Free him out. I don't need to get them pictures out. I called my dealer, said share the wire with all of us. I told him we've been so nice, don't turn on us. Is it funny how the time flies by so fast? If we do all of these lines, we go up. But if I look into your eyes, I make you realize, you know that we can be immortal. Are you loyal? I just praying that she loyal.
Live on Cubcam TV, sounds of Octavian doing what Octavian does alongside Gorillaz. As I was saying, I think it's a collaboration that no one would have thought of, but it makes so much sense, let's be real.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you see it on paper, you know it's going to sound weird. You just don't know which type of weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, we weren't disappointed. It was typical Octavian doing his experimental style.
Definitely. I think the maddest thing about this as well is we were just trying to work this out off mic. Whether he got sent the instrumental, did they do it together? Because if you heard just the instrumental, what would you think? Like, it's very weird. It's very trippy and out there.
Yeah, I would be like, you sent me the wrong thing.
You sure? I don't think this is. You sure this is my one? Yeah. But how do you turn around to Gorillaz and go, "Is this my one? You sure this isn't good?" No,
that's what I was saying. I would think this is definitely an in-person collaborative effort.
Definitely, I think it's too out there. It's just too out there for it not to be.
That's it, and I think that's the case with a lot of Octavians. He's very unique with his song structure and. Yeah, verse layout, everything. He just does it his own way.
There we go.
Is to be admired.
So for this one, rating-wise, I'm going to go 4. I like the creativity. Give it this.
You don't want to say the 4.
There we go. I like the creativity, but it's a bit too out there for me, personally.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. I haven't got the video up today, unfortunately, but I would have liked to see your face throughout that. I'm sure there would have been a couple raised eyebrow.
Yeah, well, I did actually do a reaction video to this, but it got pulled, which was annoying. But I did actually do a reaction video to it. So, be interesting to see how it translates.
Yes, indeed.
Right, next then on today's listing, something a little bit different from the lineup so far. It's been very kind of UK rap, it's been very kind of rap and R&B so far. But this next one comes from Clarity and Dakota 6. Dakota 6's second single in 2 weeks, which is cool to see. And this one goes by the name of Closer.
Let's get into it.
Closer, tell me it's fine. Wash over my body like the rain in summertime. Need you more than you notice. I need you so deeply. I'm so devoted that I can't see clearly. Touch me like you never touched.
sounds of Dakota 6 and Clarity on that one. Clarity on the production and Dakota 6 on the vocal side of things. Really interesting tune, something a little bit different from what we've had going on today. How are we feeling about that one, Dookie?
Yeah, I think it was a nice switch up, wasn't it? A nice, a little deviation into the house world, the realm of house music with a nice little vocal on top. And I think that was, just what we needed.
Definitely.
How did you come across this one?
So this one, I follow Dakota 6 quite closely. We're in a couple of the same Instagram groups and sort of promotional circles and stuff like that. So I often see the music she's putting out there. And I saw this one and thought, yeah, it's going straight in because it's another very good example of how to be a good vocalist. You know, I think she's very much someone who will move across different genres quite well and find a way of making her vocal tone fit. And I think Clarity on the production for this one does a really good job of incorporating her vocal. Like, there's enough space on the instrumental for it to make sense. It's not like overbearing, but it still needs the vocal. You know, it's an instrumental that needs the vocal without it being reliant on the vocal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, completely. They partnered up very well, and it actually gave me a sort of nostalgic vibe. Like, brought me back to my early Raven days. So however they captured that, kudos.
There we go. So let's do a rating on this one. Duke, it's all yours.
I'm gonna go with Quattro. 4.
Quattro.
You don't want to say the 4.
Quattro.
There we go. Big 4. So we've got one more to do. We've got one more track. This one, new additions, new artists that we've never actually seen before on this show. Rekka and Bigger Picture. This one going by the name of Warrior. Now, this one's a little bit different. It's kind of like UK throwback T-Pain kind of vibes, and you'll see what I mean.
Well, that's the first time that set of words has ever been said together.
UK T-Pain throwback to that time period together. Right, let's get into it.
Last night, I had a dream. When I got to Africa, I had one hell of a rumble. I had to beat Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king of the jungle. For this fight, I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and put thunder in jail. You know I'm bad.
Othello on the beat.
Came up from nothing, nobody gave me a plate. When I wanted to go, everybody told me to wait. I was running to money like I was late for the train. Now I know that it's coming, I sit and patiently wait. Cause I came up from nothing, nobody gave me a plate. When I wanted to go, everybody told me to wait. I was running to money like I was late for the train. Now I know that it's coming, I sit and patiently wait. I'm a warrior, warrior. My mama raised a warrior, warrior. I'm a warrior, warrior. My mama raised a warrior, warrior.
300 Leonidas, tell him I'm a Spartan. We was outnumbered, went to war regardless. Did you ride when I was at my deepest, darkest? Possession with intent, I couldn't fight the charges. Battle is continuous, told that it took you strenuous. Friends became enemies, back and forth like a pendulum. Thought the grass was greener, but now they see there's no benefits. Look across the nation and you can see the Dominion. There's a war going on outside, they're killing us. You can look deep in the eyes and see disgust. This a verbal picture I couldn't paint with a brush. All I ever knew was survival, we from the mud. Lost brothers to police, lost brothers to the streets, lost brothers to the system, they're praying on release. Mummy raised a warrior and daddy's the same. And my kids gon' be warriors, they carry this name as Deuce.
Came up from nothing, nobody gave me a plate. When I wanted to go, everybody told me to wait. I was running to money like I was late for the train. Now I know that it's coming, I sit and patiently wait. Cause I came up from nothing, nobody gave me a plate. When I wanted to go, everybody told me to wait. I was running to money like I was late for the train. Now I know that it's coming, I sit and patiently wait. I'm a warrior, warrior. My mama raised a warrior, warrior. I'm a warrior.
Sounds of Rekka and Big Picture on this one, going by the name of Warrior. Really, really cool tune. Something quite unique, and I think that sort of description I gave, obviously going back to that sort of earlier kind of T-Pain sound, I definitely think that's appropriate.
Well, I see what you're saying in some of the ad-libs for sure. I think that sort of, I don't even know how you describe it. That sound was definitely there, but I think it was structured in a different way. It definitely had that UK feel to it, even though it did incorporate the auto-tune I actually really like this one.
Yeah.
How did you come across this?
This was a genuine random scouting. Like I tend to spend about an hour a day hunting around either Spotify or YouTube or SoundCloud for new music. Essentially, I spent a lot of time on Twitter looking for new music as well. And this is one that just popped up. I saw the music video and then went, yeah, I definitely want to run this one. It's definitely a bit of a banger.
Yeah, melodic with a message.
Yeah,
you can't really go wrong with that.
Definitely.
I really, as I was saying, asked for the feature name as well. Because Guess First didn't disappoint.
There we go. So I'm going to go solid. I think I will.
Yo, big 4-5.
It's the big 4-5. I can't really fault much about it, to be honest with you. I think as an overall composition, it's 4 minutes 12 as well, which I'm always going to like. I like a longer tune. Tells a story. The structure of the tune's really nice. The general layout of everything works really nicely, and yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, no, I agree. I concur.
There we go. So we have our winner. We have a winner, which is Koji Radical, Same Boat featuring Mereba, as it was the only 5 nominated this week. So there we go. Give a bit of a round of applause for that one.
Do you know what? I actually forgot about that. I thought we were going to have to fight out with a load of 4-5s.
Loads of big 4-5 scrap.
4-5 fight out. Yeah, 4-5 free fall.
So that's that's Roundup. We're all done. We're done about 15 minutes early today, which isn't a bad thing. I've got a lot to crack on with today. We're filming some additional YouTube content this afternoon, so I want to make sure I'm all fit and set for that. Dukey, what are you saying for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I'm going to. I've been trying to use my time as wisely as possible, so I've been undertaking this graphic design course that I found online, so I'm going to crack on with some of that this afternoon.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's good. It's just finding the ropes at the moment, and trying to get on that self-sufficient vibe.
There we go. That's what I like to hear, because you hit me up quite regularly about sort of like microphone equipment and all these other things. Like it definitely seems like that's a path you're kind of going down.
Yeah, definitely. It's just at the moment I'm in that hunter-gatherer stage where I'm just trying to find out all the best pockets of knowledge to dig into and best equipment to go along with it.
Yeah, there we go. Right, okay, cool. We're going to finish up there then, guys. Thank you for watching today. It's been Fresh Fridays. Obviously, you can check out the podcast via searching Breakfast with KXVU, the interviews on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud. As well as that, you can follow Dukey on @DukeSkyWalks, myself at Cub KXVU. We'll be back next Friday. Obviously, for Fresh Fridays, we've got an amazing week on the way. You'll start to see the announcements drop over the weekend. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled on the channel. If it's your first time listening, please do hit that subscribe button and hit like on the video as well. And we will see you all next time. Let me just get the outro loaded up. There we go. Peace, my friends. See you later.
Hamdi.